What is going on YouTube? Hayden back making another brand new Crypto TV episode. In today's video, we're going to be looking at Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, as well as XRP to US dollar. We're also going to be looking at the current coin market cap, as well as DueDEX and some other very interesting things. As you guys know, the past couple of days, we've been tracking basically the fact that it looks like the market is ready to break out once again as we lead towards retesting some very critical resistances on practically all of the cryptocurrencies. As you guys can see very clearly within Litecoin, you can see that we are literally back up retesting that extreme resistance that we have been facing for weeks on weeks on weeks, and now we are finally back up there and retesting that. So once again, this is coming to a very critical point as to whether or not we can actually break above these resistances. We should be able to, scale up quite a bit higher. Same thing goes with Bitcoin as we retest that, and obviously we're going to discuss all of these cryptos much more in depth in a second. Otherwise, if you guys are new to the channel, definitely make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications. Remember to leave a giant thumbs up. This way you guys can help out me with the YouTube algorithm, and remember to follow me on Twitter at CryptoVOfficial. This way you guys can basically get updated with all different information, and if you just want to have a quick conversation. Otherwise, let's jump into today's episode. Alright, so as you guys can see, I'm on my YouTube channel. Yesterday's video and the past couple of videos, we've had some very interesting things I just want to go over briefly. So we were basically tracking what appears to be the big break. We actually saw right here, we were having this really big resistance and uptrend, and eventually we ended up retesting that. We were figuring out which way we decided to break. We did unfortunately short that, that drop, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I know a lot of people want the prices to obviously go higher. And then we started to see this small correction back to the upside, moving us slowly back up to those resistances. Now that's where things got interesting. We were actually figuring that if we were able to short the coin, we'd fall down to much lower levels than we actually retested. And then we figured that maybe there was some sort of bear trap that actually formed, which, as we discussed in this video right here, does indicate that potentially we could still be in a long-term uptrend, which is a great thing. And I kind of wanted to go over that in specifics in today's episode. Obviously, we know that out of the, wow, that is interesting and actually quite comical. That's actually really funny. So I guess the current coin market cap, coinmarketcap.com, wanted to add something funny. The toilet paper token, as we know what's going on right now. This is actually really funny, and you can see the way they've shaped the price graph into butt cheeks. That is very comical. But moving on from that, you can see number one is obviously Bitcoin right now, trading at $6,400. We're actually swinging back up, which is great. We actually thought we would drop below $6,000, and if things did, continue to trade like that, we could fall all the way down to $5,000. But surprisingly, we held up support in what appears to be a bear trap, and it looks like we're going to start to head back up, which is honestly a great thing. So now that we know this, majority of the market is back in some sort of consolidation, pattern, except for toilet paper token, TPT. But what I wanted to show you guys right now is these cryptocurrencies. So here's what I have pulled up. We'll look at Bitcoin, and then we'll look at XRP in a second. But here's the very interesting thing. So very similar to what appears to be that bear trap that I had shown before, we had an uptrend which broke bearish, and it was only a small correction, which is immediately, swinging right back up. And this is honestly a great sign. If indeed we are able to get right back above this resistance, this should indefinitely help us move all the way back and retest this area right here. Let me just pull up the daily to show you guys exactly what I'm referring to. So you can see right here what it is that we're doing. We actually started to break bearish, like I said, and then we're starting to correct back upwards. And if this pattern continues to hold, and if the bear trap is actually happening right now, we should be able to swing back up to retest that middle moving average. So I'm fairly confident we may actually see prices closer to $8,000 within Bitcoin in the next few days. Obviously, that biggest retestment is going to be closer to the $6,800 resistance that we have right here, but I'm fairly confident that we may actually start to head back up. This drop that we saw was not nearly as low as I had expected. I was anticipating lows as low as $54 to $5,000 within a blink of an eye with a ton of volume, but we actually bounced off of a support right here, very similar to what we had experienced on March 23rd, and now we're immediately correcting back up, which is great. And the fact that we're coming back to retest this resistance, we may come back with much more volume, and this resistance may be a lot weaker, and there could be that good chance that we could break through here and ultimately swing right back up to that high-low minimum moving average on Bitcoin. That is honestly a very great sign. Same thing applies to Litecoin, but I said I would talk about XRP. So this is the other crypto that looks really good. A lot of these coins, a lot of these cryptocurrencies are starting to appear bullish more than they appear bearish. You can see that we still, with Bitcoin, or sorry, with XRP, we still have the uptrend in play. We still have these higher lows being made, which is a great sign. The fact that we broke right back above and are using the high-low middle moving average once again as a support, and then on top of that, we got back above our uptrend, is making me believe that we may be able to break higher. Now, obviously, we're retesting right now our current resistance, but this is pretty much what we're facing. If we're able to actually break above this level right here, there is a very high chance we could, swing all the way back up to 20 cents. Obviously, that volume won't just happen with XRP. It'll happen with a lot of the cryptocurrencies. So we'll actually see Bitcoin do the same thing. Same thing applies here. So if Bitcoin, once again, just ever so slightly retests the $6,800 resistance, we could easily shoot up another $1,200, leading us closer to $8,000. Now, Litecoin, once again, you can see that we're literally at a very critical time. You can see it more on Litecoin and XRP than on Bitcoin, but you can see the clear resistance right here. Same thing applies to that resistance on XRP. It is very, very, very obvious that we are coming into contact with this resistance once again. This was a bear trap. This was a fake. Basically, as bear traps are explained on Investopedia and on Google, it's basically a way to scare people out of holding on long and forcing them to short the coin, and then if they don't get out, they end up missing out, and they lose quite a bit of profit. So that's pretty much what a bear trap is. It's a way to signal that the bears are falling down. It traps you into shorting the coin, and then we actually swing back upwards. Now you can see the critical support that we bounced right off of, which is our previous uptrend right here, which is great news, the fact that we bottomed off there and immediately swung back upwards, and this could ultimately swing the coin right back to the higher levels. And I believe with XRP trading like this, we should be able to see Bitcoin follow pursuit just as quickly. Same thing goes with Litecoin. We're paying very close attention now. Now I'm looking at a lot of these cryptos on their 4-hour and not on their daily. We know that the daily is more important, obviously, but the same thing applies here. And I think it's a little bit easier to see on the 4-hour charts. But you can see we've literally just been trading sideways for the longest of times, just flatlined out. We did have the uptrend, but we broke out of that, and we're just literally starting to trade sideways. And I do believe we will break above that $39, $40 resistance level, and we will start to get right back into this channel right here. And literally, if we can break through $41, there is a very, very, very big chance we will, go long. We'll have to switch long. And that's pretty much what I want to talk about. If we can break 41 on Litecoin, we should be longing these cryptocurrencies. We should be longing Litecoin. Obviously, there's some wiggle room right now with the coin at $38.99. We have to consider that a limit order, being set at 41 to fill if we break that, that barrier right here. You can play it a little more conservative, maybe set it up at 42, because if we are able to break through there, we should be able to come back up to that, obviously, middle moving average, which is closer to about $55 to $50 right now. So we would have about a $10 to $11 jump in the price, or more so $10 in the price if we are able to break through this resistance, which I would set conservatively at around 42. That's where my limit order would be. Now, unfortunately, DueDEX doesn't have Litecoin. I've been telling them to add some of these cryptocurrencies, so obviously we have to focus on Bitcoin. But once I'll get into that briefly in a second, I just want to show you guys what Ethereum looks like. Ethereum is on the daily. We have a clear downtrend. We have clear sideways consolidation. We're coming up to a point now where the consolidation is practically over. We've had days now of consolidation, literally days on days on days. 20 days now, almost a month of just sideways movement. Very little, transitions in the price. Anywhere from 112 to like 139, 140 has been where the price, the price is where the price has been just trading sideways. This is going to come to an end. It's going to come to an end very quickly, and we should, if we're starting to see candles like this close above here, it is a long. So obviously there is a clear resistance. I can just slide this up ever so much like that, just to give us a better ground to look at. And obviously I would set a long position anywhere above 146. I would long this coin from 146 all the way up to about 182, given the opportunity. So I do think there's plenty of potential right now. Like I said before, it's literally just a waiting game right now to see when we decide to get that volume, but the volume is coming, and I think we're overdue now for a run. So keep your eyes very, 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 close on the market. Set your notifications. As I said, within DueDEX, you want to focus on Bitcoin. Bitcoin's the only one that really doesn't show a great deal of consolidation. Yeah, we do clearly see the resistance right there, but we have to spend very close attention. Obviously, anything above that 6,800 would allow us to steer correctly and shoot potentially up to 8 grand. And I do think we're literally waiting now. It's a waiting game for when this is going to happen. So obviously, make sure to step your stop losses. And if you have me on Patreon or you don't have me on Patreon just yet, all of my positions and trades are posted on there. So I highly recommend you check that out. Obviously, I do think we're looking very nice. I think we're literally now just waiting for an overdue breakout in the market. But that is going to wrap up today's video, guys. If you are new to the channel, definitely make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, leave a giant thumbs up. Remember to follow me on Twitter at CryptoVOfficial, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. Peace.